As a physician who has spent over 3 decades caring for older adults, I want to share something that might genuinely surprise you. There's a single food, one that most of my patients over 65 have never seriously considered, that can actually help reverse muscle loss, even if you're 75 or older. Now, I know that sounds almost too good to be true, but I'm going to walk you through the peer-reviewed science that supports this remarkable claim. For too many years, we in the medical community have told seniors that losing muscle mass is simply an inevitable part of getting older. But I'm here to tell you, based on the latest research and my own clinical experience, that this isn't entirely accurate. What we call sarcopenia, that progressive age-related muscle loss, isn't just natural aging. It's actually a metabolic condition. And like many metabolic conditions, it can often be prevented and, in many cases, even reversed. If you're over 60 and you've noticed your legs feeling weaker than they used to be, or you're having more trouble getting up from a chair without using your arms, or maybe your balance isn't quite what it once was, I want you to understand something crucial. These aren't just inevitable signs that you're getting old. They're actually symptoms of an underlying metabolic dysfunction that we can address with the right approach. Today, I'm going to share with you the cutting-edge science behind muscle preservation and introduce you to one particular food that recent research shows outperforms whey protein, soy protein, and even eggs when it comes to rebuilding strength and muscle mass in older adults. The real problem: anabolic resistance. Let me start by explaining what's really happening inside your body as you age. After about age 60, your muscles develop what we call anabolic resistance. This is a fancy term for a very real phenomenon, and I like to explain it to my patients this way. When you were younger, your muscles were like a fresh, highly absorbent sponge. Every time you ate protein or engaged in physical activity, those muscles would immediately soak up the nutrients and growth signals they needed to stay strong and healthy. The process was efficient and automatic. But as we age, that metabolic sponge becomes increasingly stiff and resistant to absorption. The same high-quality protein that used to nourish your muscles and keep them strong now seems to just roll right off, having minimal impact. This happens because of several interconnected factors that accumulate over time. Chronic low-grade inflammation throughout the body, progressive insulin resistance, significant hormonal changes, and cellular aging processes. The absolutely critical point I want you to understand is this: the problem isn't necessarily that you need to eat dramatically more protein. In many cases, the real issue is that your body's delivery system for getting that protein into your muscle cells has become compromised and inefficient. The leucine factor, your muscle spark plug. There's a specific amino acid that acts essentially like a spark plug for muscle building. It's called leucine. This amino acid is absolutely crucial because it directly triggers what scientists call muscle protein synthesis, the process by which your body builds and repairs muscle tissue. In my younger patients, it doesn't take very much leucine to flip that metabolic switch and tell their muscles to start growing and repairing. But in my patients over 60, something fascinating and challenging happens. That threshold requirement goes way up. The research shows that seniors need approximately 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal to effectively signal their muscles to start building and maintaining mass. Here's where most people, even those who think they're eating plenty of protein, run into serious trouble. The protein sources we typically recommend simply don't contain enough leucine per normal serving to meet this elevated threshold. Let me give you some specific examples that might shock you. One whole egg, which many people consider a complete protein source, gives you only about 0.5 grams of leucine. That's less than 1/6 of what you actually need. 3 ounces of chicken breast, a staple in many healthy diets, provides about 2.1 grams of leucine, closer to the target, but still not quite enough to fully activate the muscle-building pathways in older adults. Even whey protein powder, which is often marketed specifically for muscle building, while better than whole foods, frequently causes digestive issues in my older patients, limiting its practical usefulness. The power food, grass-fed beef liver. But there's one food that consistently delivers not just the leucine dose you need, but also provides a comprehensive array of other nutrients that directly support muscle building and overall metabolic health. That food is grass-fed beef liver. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Liver isn't exactly at the top of most people's favorite foods list. I completely understand that reaction. But let me share with you why this particular food is so exceptionally powerful for muscle preservation in older adults. Just 3 to 4 ounces of high-quality grass-fed beef liver provides nearly 3 grams of leucine. Right in that optimal range, we need to trigger muscle protein synthesis. But the benefits don't stop there. This same serving is also densely packed with vitamin B12, which is essential for energy production and red blood cell formation. It contains highly bioavailable iron, which helps reduce fatigue and supports mitochondrial energy production. You'll also get significant amounts of zinc and copper, both crucial for tissue repair and hormonal balance, plus choline, which supports liver function and fat metabolism. A comprehensive 2021 clinical study published in a major nutrition journal found that older adults who consumed leucine-rich animal proteins, particularly organ meats like liver, had significantly better muscle retention and grip strength compared to those relying primarily on other protein sources, including plant proteins and even conventional muscle meats. If the taste or texture of liver is genuinely off-putting to you, and I completely understand if it is, you do have alternatives. You can find high-quality, freeze-dried beef liver capsules from grass-fed sources. These supplements preserve virtually all the nutritional benefits in a much more palatable form. The key point is that you don't need to consume liver every single day. Incorporating it just once or twice per week can make a significant difference in your overall amino acid profile and muscle building capacity. Insulin sensitivity. The overlooked missing link. There's another absolutely critical piece of this muscle-building puzzle that many of my medical colleagues tend to overlook, and that's insulin sensitivity. In my clinical practice, I've consistently found that insulin sensitivity is often more important than even testosterone levels when it comes to maintaining and building muscle mass in seniors. Here's why this matters so much. Insulin acts essentially like a key that unlocks your muscle cells, allowing nutrients including amino acids to enter where they can be used for growth and repair. When you become insulin resistant, which happens gradually to most people starting around age 40, those cellular doors begin to jam shut. The result is that even if you're eating adequate amounts of high-quality protein, your muscles simply can't access and utilize it effectively. The encouraging news is that improving insulin sensitivity doesn't necessarily require prescription medications. Several simple but powerful lifestyle modifications can make a dramatic difference in how efficiently your body processes nutrients. I regularly recommend intermittent fasting to my patients. Even just maintaining a 14 to 16-hour eating window can significantly improve insulin sensitivity. Taking a 10 to 15-minute walk after meals, especially lunch and dinner, can dramatically improve how your body handles blood sugar and nutrient absorption. Prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep is absolutely crucial for hormonal balance and insulin function. And consider incorporating natural insulin-sensitizing compounds like apple cider vinegar. Just 1 to 2 teaspoons diluted in water before meals can help improve your body's insulin response. Strategic protein timing. When matters as much as what? Here's something that might surprise you. The timing of when you eat protein throughout the day is just as important as the total amount you consume. This is particularly true for older adults whose muscle-building machinery has become less efficient. I consistently tell my patients to front-load their protein intake rather than following the typical American eating pattern. Instead of having a light breakfast consisting mainly of carbohydrates and saving most of your protein for dinner, you should start your day with at least 30 grams of high-quality protein. This early protein intake sends a powerful anabolic signal to your body, essentially telling it to maintain a muscle-building state throughout the entire day. My recommendation is to distribute your protein across 2 to 3 substantial, well-spaced meals rather than grazing or snacking throughout the day. Each meal should be spaced approximately 4 to 6 hours apart, allowing your body to fully process and utilize the nutrients from each feeding. And here's something that might genuinely surprise you. You should avoid consuming significant amounts of protein right before bedtime. Late-night protein intake, especially from sources that are difficult to digest, can actually impair your sleep quality and interfere with important overnight repair and recovery processes. A comprehensive 2022 study published in the prestigious American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed what I've been observing in my practice for years. Seniors who consumed the majority of their daily protein earlier in the day, with proper leucine distribution across meals, had significantly better muscle protein synthesis rates and measurably improved functional mobility after just 4 weeks of following this pattern. Why this matters far beyond physical strength. Let me explain why maintaining and building muscle mass matters far beyond just feeling physically stronger or being able to lift heavier objects. Your muscle tissue serves as your body's primary site for glucose disposal and blood sugar regulation. Having more lean muscle mass means dramatically better blood sugar control, which translates to reduced insulin resistance, which ultimately means less dangerous fat storage, particularly that metabolically harmful visceral fat that accumulates around your organs. But muscle tissue does far more than just manage blood sugar. It's actually what scientists now recognize as an endocrine organ, meaning it actively releases its own hormones and signaling molecules called myokines. These powerful compounds circulate throughout your body, actively reducing systemic inflammation, improving brain function and cognitive performance, supporting cardiovascular health, and even helping to suppress tumor growth and cancer development. The research on muscle mass and longevity is absolutely compelling. Multiple large-scale studies have consistently shown that muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of longevity and health span in adults over 55. One particularly impressive study that followed over 3,000 older adults for several years found that those with the lowest muscle mass had the highest risk of death from all causes, even after researchers controlled for body weight, chronic diseases, and lifestyle factors. The truly encouraging news is that even modest improvements can yield dramatic health benefits. Research shows that even a 5% increase in lean muscle mass can significantly improve insulin sensitivity, reduce fall risk, enhance cognitive function, and improve virtually every measurable health marker. So here's my specific prescription for you, and I'm calling it a prescription because I believe it's that medically important. First, incorporate grass-fed beef liver into your diet once or twice per week. If you genuinely cannot tolerate the taste or texture, invest in high-quality freeze-dried liver capsules from grass-fed sources. Second, start each day with at least 30 grams of high-quality protein to send that crucial anabolic signal. Third, take a brief 10 to 15-minute walk after your meals to improve insulin sensitivity and nutrient uptake. Fourth, stop eating 2 to 3 hours before your intended bedtime to allow your hormones to reset properly and optimize recovery. I want you to commit to trying this protocol consistently for 3 weeks. During this time, track not just your physical strength and energy levels, but also your mental clarity, sleep quality, and overall sense of well-being. When you start feeding your muscles correctly with the right nutrients at the right times, your entire body begins to function more efficiently and effectively. Here's my final message, and I want you to really hear this. It is absolutely never too late to rebuild muscle mass and strength. I have personally witnessed patients in their 70s and 80s make remarkable life-changing improvements when they consistently apply these evidence-based principles. Your body is still listening, still remarkably capable of positive adaptation and change at any age. If this information has been genuinely helpful to you, I strongly encourage you to like this video and share it with others who might benefit from this knowledge. Far too many people believe that progressive weakness and frailty are simply inevitable parts of aging. But as you've learned today, that's simply not true. By sharing this science-based information, you're actively helping others reclaim their strength, independence, and vitality. Together, we can fundamentally change the conversation about what it truly means to age successfully and healthfully.